Okay guys, what's up? Welcome back. This is my sister, for those of you guys that don't know. Her name is Kenzie and she's in nursing school. So today we're gonna do a little video on explaining kind of her side of nursing. She ended up doing an accelerated nursing program, and so yeah, we're gonna talk all about it. You guys asked your questions over on Instagram. And if you guys don't follow us over there, you should, because that's where we post most of our stories, and our nursing stuff. So if you are a nurse or a prospective nurse and you want more information, you should go follow us over there, because that's where I always post, like, ask your questions for this video or whatever it might be. So, sorry, I'm just pulling up the questions.
So I'm at the University of Utah in their accelerated program. So
yeah,
most nursing programs for undergrad are 2 years, I would say.
Yeah.
Is average time. Mine's 16 months. So that was a lot of the questions. Where is she going and how long? So
how long is her program?
16 months straight through from start to finish with no breaks besides holidays. So there's no summer break or anything like that. So I went spring, summer, fall, and then I have one more semester in the spring.
Perfect.
That answers some of them.
That answers a lot of them, actually. Okay, so talk about, some people are asking like good majors for pre-nursing. Kind of just talk about a little bit the prereqs specifically that you had to take in order to go into this program, but how all of them are, every school you apply to is going to be different.
That was hard deciding which prereqs to take, because if you want to apply to multiple schools, you have to take different prereqs, which kind of sucks because it's money that you just have to spend in hopes that you'll get in. So for the University of Utah, I had to take 9 prerequisites. I don't know if I'll remember these, but anatomy, physiology, microbiology, patho, did I say patho?
No.
Pathophysiology, human growth and development.
Didn't you have to take a chem?
Yes, chemistry.
OChem? No.
No OChem, but some schools you do have to take OChem. So
yeah,
I would just recommend look at what the schools need, or what their prereqs are. And a lot of majors have those classes in them anyway. So my major, I went to CU Boulder first, and my major was integrative physiology. It's basically like kinesiology, so I'd say in general the best major would be kinesiology.
I'd probably say the same. Yeah, like at my school I did
there are pre-nursing majors.
I majored in nursing. So some schools you can major in nursing, other schools if you've already had your or if you want to do your undergrad first and then go into an accelerated, like kind of like what Ken's did, I would recommend doing something in the medical field. So yeah, I would do either like chemistry, biology, pre-med, kinesiology, something of that tract, just because it'll help you with the prereqs.
Right.
Accelerated program get the same job opportunities as a regular BSN program.
Absolutely, yeah. If you graduate with your degree and pass the NCLEX, I don't think there's any difference in where you got your degree.
There's no difference.
Truly,
I think tell you that too.
Yeah, people think that, going to like a well-known school or something makes a difference, but that's true for anything. If you want to go to further schooling too, I've been told it really doesn't matter where you get your degree, as long as you get it, you're licensed, then it's all the same job description once you're a nurse. So yeah.
Is it attainable to start nursing school later in life? Obviously you're not like later in life, but you can speak to other people that are in your cohort, and also you did start like 3 years after you were already into college. So
yeah, so I started my undergrad with integrative physiology, knew I wanted to do something in medicine. And so I kind of figured it out on the late end of college. So 3.5 years after I went to Boulder, I transferred back to the U. So I did not get my undergrad there. So instead I transferred everything over, and I'll get my undergrad from University of Utah. Yeah. But nursing school is really cool because I don't think it's ever too late. It's 2 years seems like maybe a long time, but it goes by so fast. I know.
It's already gone by
so
insanely fast for you. Like I cannot believe you're going to be a nurse next summer.
And I know a lot of people who this is their second degree. They've worked. There's a lady in my cohort who used to be like totally business, had her whole undergrad, worked for 20 years, I think, and is now getting her nursing degree. So I don't think it's ever too late.
There's people with kids, there's people with other jobs. Like
you can do it online too. That's a lot of people wonder about that, and I think you can get that in a year. So it's super quick.
And then like would they just do their clinicals?
Yeah, you have
through the program, and you have to like create your own clinicals.
Yeah, you have to go find them.
That's probably a good option for some of you guys. Was the application process before getting accepted stressful? I'm about to apply.
Yes, definitely. So technology is probably the most stressful part of it all, because my roommate had a lot of issues with specifically the University of Utah's application, but most schools I think have figured it out by now. Like,
I would hope. Yeah.
I think it just depends on the school, and it should work, but I just think double, triple check everything. I emailed this guy like seriously so many times just to make sure, because I want to take it in. It meant a lot to me, and I'm glad I did. So I think
the most stressful part for you, like we lived together when she was doing this, was what school to apply to, because she was like, okay, well, I don't want to put my eggs all in one basket because nursing school is so competitive. But like what you said earlier, every nursing school is going to require different prereqs. So if you don't want to spend $1 million paying for prereq classes, then you're going to have to kind of hone it in and feel okay and like less stressed about just applying to maybe 1 or 2 schools.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably pretty good advice, because if you try to apply to like 10, unless you're going straight from high school, like that's different. If you're going straight from high school, apply to all the schools, you know. But if you already have an undergrad degree, or if you already have some college under your belt, try to maybe hone it into like 1 or 2 schools to apply to, and that'll decrease your stress a lot. What field does your sis want to work in? OR? Question mark?
OR. I love surgery. So I've gone like in circles about what I want to do. I feel like I started and I was like, I don't want to do surgery. I've already worked in surgery. Wanted to kind of broaden my perspective. And
Tell
going
them
through
really quick, just like what you did in the OR.
So I worked at her hospital, and I was a perioperative support specialist. So kind of just helped with everything in the operating room. I
transferring cases. Yeah, like helping the nurse with whatever they really needed. Like,
so I feel like I got good exposure, but I felt like I didn't have any exposure to anything else. So I wanted to see the other things, and obviously when she was in the ICU is what made me want to go to nursing school, which we can maybe answer that later. But so I thought like I need to give ICU a chance. So my capstone, I put the PICU, which is a pediatric ICU. So
which is like their version of
senior practicum.
Yeah, senior practicum, which is what we called ours. Some schools call it an externship, some call it capstone. But it's basically where you go and shadow a nurse for a month and work their whole schedule, and you kind of get a say in which department you want to do. And it's a nice outlook into what possibly you could be doing once you graduate.
Right. So I think I wanted to try everything else, and I also think so I've tried to figure out what it is I want to do, and I always come back to surgery. So my ultimate goal right now is to be a surgical nurse practitioner. So I would go to more school and then work in surgery. That would be like my dream job right now, but it's taken me a while to get there, and I still don't know, because I think you don't really know until you start working. So I'm gonna graduate. I just love the scheduling of operating room. I love how you don't always have to take work home with you, and I think nursing can be really, really tough, and people don't realize that when they go into it, because I love people and I want to help them, but it can be really, really hard on yourself and your life. And even through clinicals, I've had nights where I am just really sad, and it's really hard job. So if you can find an aspect of it that doesn't make you sad every night, I think that's really important.
100%. Completely agree with that. Do we plan to become NPs? We're both kind of considering it. You guys know I've applied and considered it. Kenzie's definitely considering maybe just like going straight into it after school, maybe working a little bit and then going into it. But yeah, like she just said, she does think she wants to maybe be like a surgical NP. I'm still considering it. I just really want to know what I want to do after going through that whole round with University of Colorado Denver campus before I just like jump into it and pay the money and apply again and do the interview and everything.
Yep.
Did you take a test? Did you have to take a test to get into nursing school?
No. So I think if you have a certain GPA, there are no tests from what I understood.
Yeah, and coming out of...
Some schools have GRE. Some schools even have GRE.
Even the GRE, yeah. Like you have to have either taken the GRE or like the HESI exam. A lot of you guys asked me about that. I did have to take that, but it was after I was already into TCU's nursing program. So we kind of all studied and took it as like as a whole, like as a cohort. So I don't really remember it ever being like stressful or hard. There's study books for those tests, and from my understanding, like they're still pretty easy, so I wouldn't stress about that, but there's tons of resources online. I'll try to link some down below for you guys. But yeah, you didn't have to take a specific
I think
test.
There's a lot of schools where you don't have to take tests, which in my opinion is so much easier.
Yeah.
I would choose schools that you don't have to take a test, but like she said, they're not super difficult. So
how much faster paced / different is it from the 4-year program? So you don't, I mean, you kind of know what mine was like because you came and visited me and we talked all the time, but what would you say is the biggest, like,
The difference?
Yeah.
Well,
Like, how
my
is the
my
pace?
program is all nursing from start to finish. It's all nursing. Whereas when you go undergrad, you have
Basic
your
classes
whole
too,
undergrad,
your
yeah, so your
generals and your
electives, and the nursing program I'm in is just nursing. So
Mm-hmm.
it's, my cohort is 72 people, and it's, yeah, all nursing classes. So there's no gen eds or anything, which is really nice. Like, I almost feel like I'm in grad school because I went to a different school first. But people who have been at the University of Utah since their freshman year, it was kind of like what she did a little bit. So like your first 3.5 years, you take all your gen eds, all your prereqs for nursing.
Yeah.
And then once you get to that point, you're in that like intensive nursing.
Yeah. So you
program.
wouldn't say like you don't feel like the pace is like uncontrollable, like can't do it.
No, not at all. I think the schools know what we need to take, and they know, I think, what people can handle. So it's definitely, it feels more intense because it's only nursing.
Babe, sorry, we're filming a video. Can I call you back?
No.
Say
Babe,
hi.
say hi.
I'm gonna. Hi.
Hi.
I'm just calling to let you know I'm on the road.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Yay. Okay. I'll call you back just in like 15 more minutes, okay?
Alright, I'm gonna search. I might be in the canyon.
Okay. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
We're filming a nursing video.
Why? Do you guys know anything about nursing?
Why?
Nothing.
The experts, you don't know. Okay, baby. Well, drive safe.
Alright, love you.
I love you.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, sorry.
I mean, accelerated is gonna feel faster just because there's no breaks.
Involved.
But
yeah.
I don't feel like it's overwhelming to the point where you can't handle it.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
someone just like, I think people mostly want to know like being able to balance things, and I feel like you are an extremely good person at this because you're really good at school and you're really good at having that schedule, so you actually like to be structured and like have the accelerated because she's just really good at like getting her stuff done and knows how to study each day, and like that's something you guys will develop for sure throughout.
Yeah.
But just talk about like the balance because you've still had time. I think people think accelerated and it's like I'm gonna have no life for 18 months or a year, 2 years, and so you just have to like time manage.
Yeah, personally, I haven't felt like it's been too much to handle. That being said, there are people in my cohort who think it is extremely difficult and still struggle with that. But I think if you can figure out what works for you and not stress out about it to the point where you can't even get anything done because you're just so worried about it all, then it helps to have a schedule. I like being super like regimented, so I like going to school. It sounds weird, but I like having
I was
a schedule.
the same way in nursing school, yeah.
And that's not to say I don't get stressed out because I do, but this year, like year and a half, is the first year I've ever had a serious boyfriend, and I've been able to travel with him. I went to his baseball games. Like I thought I wasn't going to be able to do that, but I just figured it out. And so many people in my cohort are like, how are you gone every weekend? Like, how do you do this? And
She's just a good studier.
it's just really important to
get yourself that time though,
yeah,
too.
and you need it. Like I would be miserable if I didn't have any life. So I'm just good about knowing what I need to spend more time on and what I need to spend less time on. So an assignment that isn't worth that many points and something that you can kind of knock out, I'm really good at getting stuff done ahead of time. So if I'm going out of town, I'll do all my homework before I leave. Yeah. So I don't even have to think about it. And studying for tests 2 weeks in advance seems like a lot, but I start probably 2 weeks in advance and I write out all my notes. I brought these guys.
I think that's like the biggest study tip for both of that we both had is nursing school is all show 'em. Nursing school is all, I can put some pictures like up on the screen too.
Yeah, so I like, if there's a PowerPoint, I write out the entire PowerPoint in here. This thing is just full of notes.
Yeah.
So I start this like 2 weeks in advance.
And I used to do the exact same thing. So if your professor, which they all should, has a PowerPoint, I used to print it out and then I literally used to like either type it all out myself also and then handwrite it all. So whatever you have time for, obviously the accelerated, maybe you just have time to like handwrite it all like Kenzie's doing. But yeah, studying 2 weeks and study the material when you learn it. If you go to a lecture, go home that day or however it works for you, but study that material then because everything in nursing school is accumulative. Yes. Cumulative. So everything you learn from the first day of nursing school to the end, no matter when you, no matter when you are tested on it, like it's gonna be from the beginning. So you literally just have to start learning and get in that mindset from the very beginning. Or that?
Hello.
Is that Kenzie's?
What?
Coffee?
No, it's
Oh.
from daytime thing.
Oh yeah.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Say hi to them.
Hi, y'all.
Subscribers. It's also important to find out what works for you, because what works for me does not work for a lot of people. So if you are someone that just needs to look at the PowerPoint one time, then that's awesome. If you're someone that needs to like print off pictures, then do that. But
figuring out your study habits is huge. And I actually do have a video on that, you guys, if you want like a more in-depth video on how to study for nursing school and how to study for the NCLEX, at least for how I did it. I will link that down below. I'll also put it up on the screen right here. But I do have a full video on that I went over kind of what I did for nursing school. And maybe we can do another one with Ken's on that like at a later date. But
there was a question about do you feel like you've understood all the material because it is cumulative?
Yeah.
I was going to answer that.
And I remember it.
Yeah, I think it was the coolest thing. This is what I've loved about nursing school is I felt like I literally have never understood the human body as well as I do now. And it's because we learn it over and over again, and I love that. Like feeling like you actually understand it. And I did not think that was going to happen, because college is so different where you memorize the material, you take the test and you forget about it and you move on.
Yeah.
And nursing school is not like that, because you need to know your stuff. And so I loved that. Like, it's such a good feeling when you do actually understand it, and it makes the next test that much easier, because you're like, oh, I already know that.
So true.
You don't need to memorize it. It's just something you understand. So I love that. Yes, I do feel like I still remember it. I comprehend it, and it's all cumulative, which sounds hard, but it's actually pretty easy if you just stay on top of it, honestly.
Yeah. What would we recommend to someone who's hesitant on going into nursing?
I think
like you definitely experienced that a little bit, I think. But once you knew, you kind of knew, you just went for it.
I think really think about it, because nursing school is tough. It's a lot of money. If it's not something you really want, I don't know if I'd go into it. Yeah. Because nurses have to have a huge like care and compassion for other people, or else it can be really difficult.
Yeah, like if it's not worth it to you to have the few good moments, then just choose something else. Like there's a million things out there to do. We're not discouraging you from going into nursing. If you want it, go for it, because it's so rewarding. Neither of us ever regret I never have regretted going into it. And you haven't, right?
No, and but it's not to say that there's been things that have been way more difficult than I thought they would be, because I think going into it, I'm like, I want to help people, it's great, but until you see people who are extremely sick or dying, or someone, lost their leg or lost their arm or something, it's really, really hard. So I just think that you need to think about how you are as a human being and how you process all that stuff. And if you can handle it, then and it's something that you want to do, then absolutely. But if it's something that you're like, maybe not 100% sure about it, I would take a little time. I mean, 6 months is nothing. You can take 6 months, think about it, and then, you'll figure it out.
Apply it in the next round or whatever. You already have a bachelor's in something else.
No, so I transferred. A lot of people do though. You can have either. In my program, you can be a graduate or undergrad. Some programs are one or the other. So just look into your school, but there's so many options.
Yeah. What was something you wish you knew before you went into the program?
Something I wish I knew. I guess specifically to my program, I wish I knew more in advance, like when we would have to choose our capstone, and just because it is so fast, like you do need to be thinking about what you want to do when you graduate.
Like,
and I feel like
in the beginning
snuck up on me so fast that I was like, I really didn't know what I wanted to do, and I kind of just was like, well, I'll do the pediatric ICU, and it's not the end of the world. Capstone doesn't matter that much, but I think I've been so up and down with what I want to do, and I felt like I had to decide right then. So just be aware of like every clinical experience you have, like picture yourself working there, and if you love it, that's awesome. If you hate it, then like check that off your list as something that you don't want to do. So I just think always think about where you want to work, because it's really hard to decide. Because there's so many options.
How to maximize your chances to get into nursing school. Just talk a little bit about like, I mean, you talked about she worked as a peri-op support special person in the OR. What else did you do to like maximize?
I think experience is important, but I don't think it's everything. I think a lot of people stress about, I need 10 different certifications, I need at least 5 years of work. And from what I've learned from my professors and people on the committee and stuff is, if you show them that this is something that you genuinely really want to do, and you're driven, and this is your absolute goal, and you're going to accomplish it no matter what, they want you. I think nursing is like, if you have the compassion for it, they can tell that you're going to be a great nurse, because at the end of the day, that's what you want to be as a nurse is someone who wants to be there. So,
And that being said, though, you have to show that. You have to be able to show that through your resume,
Right.
through your essay, and
Yep.
through your interview. So
absolutely.
all of that can only get you so far, obviously.
Yeah.
So you do have to have, the good grades. Volunteer as much as you can. Get your work in a hospital setting, like if you can. If you've worked as a tech, if you've worked, the cat's eating butter. If you've worked, or if you've just volunteered in a hospital. Kenzie volunteered in the hospital in high school. I did a little bit of that also. And then just taking like classes, doing whatever you can to kind of stand out and show that this is what I want. Like this is what I've been doing to gain experience. This is what I've been doing to learn the human body more. This is what I've been doing to show that I really want this.
Yeah.
All of those things.
I also think I went and talked to my teacher about applying to DNP school, and this is kind of like a tip, and I don't want it to sound bad, but you kind of have to sell yourself that this has been your absolute passion since you were little. And
Right.
not saying lie, but there are times where you have to exaggerate it and make it seem like this is like
For a better day.
okay. What I was saying was that I think you just need to sell yourself, and I think don't be afraid to be over the top about it and say, I'm gonna accomplish this, and make them want you, is what I'm saying, I guess. And just be really confident in your goals and say just how driven you are and how you're gonna accomplish those goals, I think is really important. I think people can write their goals, but I think explaining specifically how you're gonna get there, what strengths you have, is really important. And
It looks so different than it did. How did we pay for college? I really want to finish my prereqs. Our loans smart.
so we got really lucky. Our grandpa set up college funds for all
Grandpa
of
and our
us,
uncle, yeah.
all the grandkids.
When we were born.
yeah.
So, and honestly, like I had merit scholarship. You got merit
I
scholarship.
had a transfer scholarship, from when I went to Colorado to Utah.
So like for my undergrad program, I had almost a third of my tuition covered from merit scholarship, and the rest I had money in my college account. So I got super lucky in that aspect, so I didn't have to take out any loans. That being said, if I do go to more school, if I do go to NP school, or I do go to any other type of school, that's going to be out of my own pocket and or getting loans. So
Yes. I don't think there's anything wrong with loans as long as you're smart with them. We got really lucky and haven't had to, but if I do get into NP school, then I'm for sure gonna have to take out loans. So
yeah,
I think you'll know what's right for you. If you
depending on how much you already have. If
Talk to
you're
your
just
family
really
about
not, can't find anything that you're passionate about where you're making enough money to even pay off your loans, and you just really this is something you really want, then the loans, you got to do it, and you'll figure it out
so
down
many
the road.
people do it.
Yeah. How heavy is the workload per week, and do you have any breaks? Fall break, Christmas.
So yes, I do get fall breaks and Christmas. I have a month off at Christmas, which is probably the longest break.
So yeah, they say like you
I
don't
have.
get breaks, but you
But
still
you
do.
And I mean, the workload changes every week. It depends if there's a test coming up. Obviously, those weeks are way busier.
But I do feel like every time I talk to you, you're like, oh, I'm studying.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I study a
you
lot.
have to study every day, right? You'd say.
Yeah. Are y'all RNs or nurse practitioners? What's the difference? We're RN.
Yeah,
I'm
so
not
I'm an RN BSN. She's gonna be an RN BSN when she graduates. Same exact credentialing. NP is another certification where you are getting a Master's of Science in Nursing, and you are then you take a test to be a nurse practitioner. So it's essentially like another step up. You learn more about the pathophysiology, you dive deeper into the treatment side, how to prescribe, all of that type of thing.
And nurse practitioners are providers. So a lot of times when you go into the clinic and you see a primary care provider, it's a nurse practitioner. So they're able to prescribe. Oh my gosh, our cat in there.
Oh, you brought the butter over?
Yeah. Okay. They can prescribe medications. They can diagnose. They can make care plans and
Which we can do too. But.
treatments and all that stuff. So you're basically a provider. You're not a doctor, but you can get a doctorate in nurse practitioner as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just more school and further
A higher
credentials.
level of practice,
Yes.
more
More
liability also. Really quick, talk about like what your daily schedule is like and how you still have time to like do self-care stuff.
Yeah, so either clinical or class, I would say 4 out of 5 days of the week. Our program has been good about having at least one day off, I would say. Certain weeks, clinicals are crazy and we have clinicals 3 days, class 2 days. But first semester I had class, for the most part, I have class 2 days a week. whether it's Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday, Friday.
But it's like all day, right? It's
Yeah,
like
so
8 to 5.
Usually 8 to 4,
8 to 4.
and then 8 to 1:30 the next day. It's kind of hard to explain. Like Chandler can't keep track of my schedule because it's different
And everyone's
every day.
program is going to be different.
Right. I'd say for the most part, wake up, eat breakfast, make coffee, go to class.
Yeah.
I bring lunch with me that I food prep because if you're there all day,
Huge tip. We both
Yeah.
did that all
That's
of nursing school.
huge. So yeah, go to class. I usually get home in the afternoon, go work out, which I would say my biggest self-care thing is working out. Because
Yeah.
after sitting in class and staring at a computer, I am so tired.
Yeah.
And the only thing that will make me feel better and like motivate me to go study more is working out. Because I come home and I feel like rejuvenated. So
Yeah.
I'll work out, come home, shower, and usually then I start working on homework, either go to a coffee shop or sit in my bed and do it. I'm not really a library person, that's just me, but yeah, I would say that's pretty typical, and I'm really good about going to bed by like 10 or 11.
Yeah.
There's some nights obviously where I have to push that, but I can't really study past that. Some people are really good at it, and if that works for you, then that's awesome, but I also think sleep is so important in nursing school.
Very important.
And if you're tired and you can't pay attention in class, then it's just like the cycle of falling behind and not feeling like you're understanding things. So yeah, or if I have clinical days, sometimes they're 12 hours or 10 hours, and don't feel bad about like I don't work out on those days.
Yeah, like
it's
give yourself a break.
Yeah,
Totally. Someone specifically wants to know how you memorize things in anatomy.
In anatomy, okay, I love anatomy, you guys. This is my favorite class.
All-time favorite class.
I was a TA, so I got to like actually teach on human cadavers, and it was so cool. So me and Maddie are similar. We're really good at memorization. I don't know why,
really
but
good at memorization.
I think I got almost 100 or something on all the anatomy tests because I love like
the human body.
Yeah. So I do think writing it out with anatomy specifically, every night before I went to bed, I would go head to toe, and whatever we were learning, if it was bones, I would say all the bones from head to toe. If it was muscles, I'd go muscles, like before I went to sleep, just in my head.
Yeah.
And I would literally wake up in the middle of the night saying I'm like in my dream, in my sleep. And so it sounds like crazy, but I took a whiteboard too. I wrote them out.
I wrote everything out on whiteboards.
Yeah.
That was a big thing for me. The whiteboards, and then just like she said, just repetitive things. If you're a visual learner, like I always used to remember things by literally like visualizing the diagram that we would have, like the big life-size diagrams in our labs. I would literally visualize that in my head, and I could remember like the muscles and the bones and the blood vessels and stuff just from like picturing that. So however you learn best, making up little things that like relate to something in your life that you remember, like that's another huge part of
making
it.
weird connections.
Yeah,
people would never understand how I remember things, just whatever works for you.
Yeah, totally. Do you work while you're in school?
So you guys probably know Maddie worked at Silver King Coffee. I worked there when I was in high school. My mom is now the manager of that little coffee shop. It's awesome, and I am really lucky that I can work there whenever I want, whenever they need extra help. So I do not have like a set scheduled job right now because I decided I really want to focus on school and have enough time to see my boyfriend, see my family, and still have fun and not be super stressed out. I think that is one way that people can get overly stressed, is if they have a full or part-time job, but I also understand some people have to do that.
Yeah. What were you saying?
What was the question?
I forget.
Oh, how much interaction do you have?
With patients.
What am I looking for?
Preceptor. That's it. When you're at clinical and there's a nurse that that's precepting you?
Yeah,
that's the word.
I don't know why it sounds so weird. Anyways,
That's the word.
it depends on your preceptor. So I've had a lot of nurses who let me do basically everything, start IVs, give medications, and other nurses are not going to be as nice, and they're going to be protective over their patients, which is not a bad thing because it is their liability if a nursing student were to mess up. So don't take it personally. Just know that there's gonna be nurses who are not the most friendly,
good
who
ones, and
don't want students.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing, my teachers have always said that you can learn from all of them, which
Show
is
that
so
you're
true.
eager to learn. Yeah.
There's been nurses where I leave and I say I really do not want to be that kind of nurse. There's been nurses where I'm like, wow, she's awesome or he's awesome, and I want to be like that. So you can learn from both, but it really does depend on the university you're at, their rules, and the nurse that you are paired with for the day.
Yeah.
Well, holiday breaks, I got every break for the most part.
Yeah.
Except we had a test on Halloween.
Oh, you did?
I think we should have Halloween off, don't you?
Yeah.
Should be like a national off
Yeah.
day.
No one, everyone still works on Halloween. Do you feel like you're getting enough clinical experience with the accelerated program? I think you kind of just answered that.
Yeah, I do. However, I felt rushed having to choose my capstone because we didn't have enough pediatric clinical days, I felt like. So I didn't feel like I could really experience the kids, but I liked it. So of course, yeah, you don't really get to choose where you're placed also, so that's kind of hard.
Yeah.
But you can just take advantage of every opportunity you get, is what I would say. I think you could always wish you had more, but you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I also don't know if it would be different in a normal program, because the only thing that's accelerated, we have the same amount of semesters, it's just
condensed.
Yeah, like I go
material
through
is
the summer.
condensed. You go through it
Do you know
probably
what I
a little
mean?
bit quicker.
So I don't know if the actual clinical hours, they're not different, because everyone who graduates,
everyone has to have the same amount of clinical hours. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's per state or per
Right.
the country, but we all have to do the same amount of clinical hours if you're in accelerated or not. So you're still going to get the same amount of hours.
Yes. So that is more direct answer. It's the same amount, but with any nursing program, you're always kind of going to be like a little bit worried, like I wish I had more time to decide, but
yeah. I think just to wrap it up, a lot of people are asking, like, do you think you'll feel prepared going out of school, even though it's an accelerated? I mean, obviously, you still have another semester, but to go right into the workforce or to go into another program, like, and guys, we'll talk about NCLEX more when Ken's is about to go into that and stuff, because I do have a video on that, but maybe after Ken's has actually taken it, we can give you guys fresh, this is what I did, this is how you should study tips. Because obviously I'm 4 years removed now, so I've already talked about my experience. But yeah, talk about if you feel like you'll be ready to go right into work, like you feel like you've learned everything.
I absolutely feel like I'll be ready. Like I said, it's the same material, same amount of hours. It's just shorter, and in my mind, I think I'd remember it better than having it spread out over 2 years
or 4.
Or 4. Yeah. So I fully think I'm prepared. I think if you take advantage of all the clinicals and all the classes. I think a huge part of nursing too is I'm definitely going to be scared. I'm going to be freaked out my first job, and that's totally normal. It depends on like where you work, obviously, but it's all the same. No matter where you graduate from, you're still going to be a new nurse, and so much of nursing is learning on the job. They cannot teach you everything you need to know as a nurse in nursing school.
So true, especially like in specialized areas like the OR or the ICU.
And they try, and I think they touch on every aspect of it, but
for sure.
You just have to be okay with not knowing everything going into it, and I've had a lot of advice from my teachers saying find a job with a good manager, someone who's going to take care of you.
Is so true.
And like she calls it,
my manager takes care of me.
She said find a mama bear, which is the most important thing, because if you're working and people aren't there to support you and help you,
which is going to happen.
Yeah. It's going to be hard.
If your manager has your back, you will want to stay and you'll feel safe. I've experienced this exact thing. Yes. And my manager is my mama bear, and she literally would go to war for me, except for how talented I am, how smart I am, and how good of a nurse I am. And those are the 3 most important things. Like, regardless of what everyone else and the hoopla and the drama and like whatever else is going on, if your manager has your back, that's like really good advice.
Seriously. Because there's always going to be the, what is it? Elder nurses eat their young.
Yeah.
And it's not as much of a thing anymore, but we've been warned about it. Like we've had
my friends
teachers talk to us about it and say, don't let that happen. Yeah, they say absolutely stand up for yourself, and that's why I think find a job that you love, but I think it's more important to have good coworkers and a good boss than necessarily feeling like you have to be in that specific unit.
Yeah, that's so
because nursing is so cool that you can change at any point, and that's what was overwhelming for me. I love nursing, but it is kind of like, oh my gosh, you could do anything in the world.
So
like, how do you choose? So I just think
clinicals help you with that for
sure. And start somewhere, and if you hate it, like we've always been advocates, like don't do something that you're not happy doing.
Yeah.
Some people just like stick through it and grind through it. I'm not like that. I think it's better to take my time. She took a year off to figure out what she wanted.
9 months.
I'm gonna take, or 9 months. I'll take however long I need to find my perfect job.
Yeah.
So I totally feel prepared. I think just be okay with learning on the job, and finding people who will support you and help you get there is really important.
Having the support system is great.
Having a sister like this one is really good. Find a sister that's a nurse.
Find a sister like Ken. Okay, also really fast, I do want to touch on, a lot of you guys asked how we stay healthy and fit during nursing school. I think for both of us, we always just have prioritized health and wellness in our lives. So Our boyfriends are similar types of people. They also prioritize those things, so that makes it easier. We tend to surround ourselves with other people that also like those things. It makes it easier when you have accountability partners to kind of help you. Like we actually do F45 at different states, but we do it together. So sometimes we'll call and be like, hey, did you go today? How's the workout? Like having someone in your life that can be like, hey, did you work out today? Or do you wanna, what are we doing for meals this week? Let's prep them all so we're staying on track. I think that's a huge thing that it might sound daunting to some of you guys if you've never meal prepped or you've never worked out every day or whatever it might be, and start small. Like don't just jump right in. But I do have a lot of videos that can like help you guys through those things on my channel, and so many more to come throughout Vlogmas, throughout obviously the rest of the time I do YouTube, which is hopefully forever. So there's tons of different ways to like stay fit and healthy. It's just kind of getting yourself prepared to like,
I think a lot of people too think it takes forever. It's like, oh, it's gonna take up my whole day. I can meal prep in like
an hour. Yeah.
But we've been doing it for a long time.
Right, and we
like,
have our things down, so like we know.
People like, I need recipes. I kind of just make up my own recipes, just based on what I like. But
yeah,
I really can knock it out fast, and it's such a game changer, especially when it's clinical 12-hour days. When you're waking up at 5, you get home at 6, and you're exhausted, and all you want to do is lay in bed. So
just having those healthy meals to just go to the fridge or have with you to just eat without even thinking about it. Not even having to think about, oh, what decision should I make in this lunchroom, like cafeteria, to make healthy choices. Like you're just gonna have it with you.
I also think self-care, like for me and my boyfriend always love coming up to Park City because both of our families live here. We live in Salt Lake, but we come up for like dinner almost once a week. And it's like just a good like removing yourself from kind of that circle you're in, take the night off from studying. There are days where I don't study, and that's okay. It's not like, you know, it's not the end of the world, and I definitely think one day a week you need to rest.
Like actually rest.
Like actually rest. I mean, if you want to read the Bible about that, you can go read that, but there's one day a week where you need to rest, and I most of the time use Sundays. Don't work out, go grocery shopping, food prep, come up to dinner with my family, and like remove yourself
watch
and
a
just
show, watch a movie.
Just like have a break and realize that you're doing great, you're doing the best you can, because at the end of the day all you can do is your best. And I remind myself that all the time when I'm stressed out. I'm like, I need to do more. You can do your best, and that is
all you can do.
Okay,
that's it for now, guys. We love you so much. Sorry if that was long, but we wanted to answer most of your questions. I love you.
I love you.
Can't wait till you're a nurse.
I'm
so proud of you. And yeah, you guys, oh, I know what I was gonna say. If you want recipe ideas, workout ideas, stuff like that, follow us on Instagram, because that's where we post, like, at least that's where I post a lot of my everyday easy recipe ideas, dinner ideas, workout tips, like food prepping tips, stuff like that. So follow us over there.
Also drink water. Sorry, that's really important.
Also drink water. I'm really bad about this. Kenzie's way better. Actually, I need to drink water right now.
Drink
I feel
water.
so dehydrated.
And don't drink soda.
Don't drink soda, drink water. Drink a lot of coffee.
I'm not judging you if you do.
Drink a lot of coffee though.
Drink a lot of coffee. I drink a lot of coffee. But seriously, guys, being hydrated is so
important. Because if your brain's not hydrated, you literally don't learn and remember things. So
and in nursing,
look that up. That's actual data.
Nursing say like, oh, you gotta get your nursing bladder ready. And I'm like, no. Okay.
Oh yeah,
they're saying hold your pee in because you work for 12 hours and don't get a chance to pee, and don't drink water.
That's very unhealthy.
Which pisses me off. Be healthy. You need to be healthy if you want to care for your patients.
If you're gonna have a long career in nursing, and they're telling you now, like, get your nurse bladder ready. No, you need to take your life into your own hands. If you want to be a mom, if you are a mom, if you want to live and be healthy in this life and live it to its fullest, no. Take care of yourself.
I excuse myself all the time to pee. I bring my hydro flask, I drink water. You don't owe it to anyone to tell them.
For them to tell you what to do.
Yeah, like it's your health, it's your body. You do what you need to do and drink your water.
And be happy. Okay, we love you guys. We'll see you back tomorrow for the next day of Vlogmas.
Is this gonna be day 2?
No, this is gonna be like day 7 or 8. Probably.
Day 7.
So yeah, we'll see you guys back tomorrow. I love you so much. Like, subscribe, comment, and we will do a follow-up video over Christmas break when we're back together to answer the rest of the questions, because there's still so many more.
So many more.
Okay, bye.
Bye.